Welcome to another MKB Law podcast today. Delighted to be joined by Paul McCoubrey from Navigate. Paul, thanks very much for coming in. I know that we've been working quite a lot over the last year on a number of matters, so I finally twisted your arm to come in to do one of these podcasts. We're going to talk today about money, which is a topic of conversation that we as lawyers like to have, but don't have as much as we probably should. You're a wealth manager, so I think you're probably best placed to talk about this at great length. But Paul, do you want to tell us a wee bit about Navigate and about your background and what it is that you do yourself?
Thank you for the invite, Nate. Delighted to be here. First and foremost, I'm a husband and father to Helen, my wife, and Lucia, my daughter. Grew up in Bangor, but now live out in Doug near Ballyclare. And for the day job, I'm Managing Director at Navigate, so we're a financial planning practice based on the Hollywood Road, East Belfast. So as you say, we're a wealth management firm and we're also a mortgage advice business. We've been going now for 11 years, 15 of us in the business. And really, my day job outside of directing the business, I'm a certified financial planner. That's what I was brought up to do. And I help my clients and our clients to just be a bit smarter with their money, invest a bit better, pay less taxes, very topical at the minute, and ultimately be able to prepare and retire in their terms somewhere along the line.
Yeah. And Paul, obviously, we're recording this on the 7th of November, and we're going to have a couple of interesting weeks in the run up to the budget. And I don't know if you brought your crystal ball with you today, but we'll maybe just skirt over what we expect in the budget and maybe just focus on the here and now. But solicitors, we work hand in glove with financial wealth managers, as we have alluded to on many occasions. Our target market as a law firm really is those kind of owner-occupiers who have business needs, high net worth individuals. We increasingly deal with people who are selling their business, particularly founders of businesses who've built it up and have sold it and all of a sudden find themselves coming into a lot of money. We as lawyers obviously are very limited in what we can do. We can't give financial advice. But a conversation that we have quite often is, well, what are you going to do now? What does the future look like? And that's really where you guys come in.
From our end of things, Neil, very rarely would you get someone coming to us saying, I'm selling my business next week, I need a financial advisor. Someone that's in business tends to be well organised and should be planned through. So the relationships that we have with those business owners is started long ago. Mm-hmm. You're sort of planning for it. And I ask, if I meet a business owner for the first time, what's the plan for getting out? Many of them look at you because they'd never thought about it. I always like the wee line, you're leaving your business. Yeah. What do you mean? Well, you're either going to walk out of it, be bought out of it, be pushed out or carried out, but you're going out. And sometimes you can see people going, if that's true, yeah, and what the plan is. So it's my job to help them get prepared for that financially and also emotionally. You just touched on it there. What do they do after? It's a massive change. Yeah. We see it in retirement a lot. People loss of status and loss of purpose. Mm-hmm. And if you don't give that serious thought and try and come up with something, a plan before that, then it's going to be harder. So it's our job to help you get your ducks in a row and to help you prepare. So when that comes, you know what's going to happen. And because when I put this back on you, on the legal side is, there's going to be bumps along the way. It's just not straightforward. Yeah. And the first price that you're offered typically is not the price that ends up the deal being signed. So absolutely, our job is to be in your corner.
Yeah, and likewise, I mean, we do see a different approach from, if you're dealing with a private equity firm that are coming in to, or, that own a business and are looking to flip it on after having owned it for maybe 5-6 years, and they adopt a different approach. They don't have that same emotion. But if you've started a business maybe 10, 20, 30 years ago and you're looking to sell, as you say, that emotional side of things, it's very difficult. It almost leads to a completely different legal process at times. And I'm sure that's something that you see from your side of the house as well.
Yeah, if you think about it, like you and I talk about this, when your work colleagues become like family in certain ways, a lot of them do. So that's what you've grown up in, that's where you've built. And it's something that you're ultimately proud of. And then it's what pays you, keeps you in the life that you're accustomed to. Yeah. So it's massive to think that one day you're handing the keys over, and for us, it's about helping you to understand what that looks like. Mm-hmm. And the money's only one part of it.
Yeah. And there's definitely a risk of leaving it too late. You know, the people that have children coming through or business partners coming through and have that clear exit strategy, they're fine and you can put them into one kind of bracket. But the man or the woman who doesn't have that exit strategy, who is at risk of leaving it too late and really not being able to enjoy a fruitful retirement, that in it of itself is an issue.
Yeah, many business owners do you know that are just head down, work, work, work.
Well, I know a few.
Yeah. But they're not sitting above the business and taking that view. How many do you know are the business? Like, that's the biggest risk. If you are the business, who wants to buy it when you want to walk off the pitch? Mm. So these are things that you need to get, as I keep saying, it's more than the money. It's what is the next, the people coming in behind you buying, and how are they going to take over? What's your role if you have a role, and how you're going to deal with that?
So ideally, when's the best time to start the conversation?
Earlier the better, isn't it? So I think, I look at this as from two hats. I run a business. I started the business. I'm 45. Man, what does 55 look like? And I don't want to be running as fast as I do. So I need to be. So I think about it from that point of view. And what are our options? Sell, succession, employee ownership, trust are getting more popular. What are those options? And then advising my clients as to what's the best thing for them to do. Yeah. But I think the earlier the better, having an idea. And a mutual friend of ours, our non-exec director, John Steen, always works on us. Run the business like it's for sale. Yeah. So putting your house in the market, you always have to you always need to do a few re-jobs, get the house looking as well as you want it. And he talks to us about that, making sure that the finance are very clear, transparent, there's predictable income. You're not the main person in the business. That's something we've worked on in the last 2 to 3 years. Me and my business partner and I is bringing a team around us so that if we're not there, it's not fully reliant on us. Good leadership team, getting everything in a row. That gives you options. Whether you sell, in our world, selling isn't, I don't feel at this stage, the buyers out there wouldn't be a good result for our clients. That's not what I'm looking for. But I'm also building a young team behind me. Yeah. Is it possible that they'll be able to buy us out as we go along?
Yeah, because we both work in the service industry. We don't have a nice, shiny, glossy product to sell that somebody can take home and put on the mantelpiece or the kitchen table. And you're right in terms of when too much of that goodwill is rested on the individuals, it's very difficult then to actually realize the value for the business and to have a succession plan in place within the business. And the quicker that you can bring the next generation in and have that succession plan over maybe a 10 to 15 year strategy, I think the best chances the business have of surviving beyond the current custodians of the business. But what about somebody coming through, business owner, or even just a young professional at 30 years of age? Is there anything that you should and could be doing? We all know the obvious answers to that, but is there anything kind of outside of the norm that you would advise anyone coming through now just to protect their retirement or their finances in the future?
So I think when you start up the business, you're in grind mode, aren't you? Just fighting fires and building. You start to build your team. If for someone in their 30s, it's the basics of financial planning, Neil, especially if you have a limited company, getting money out, getting into your pension, you're de-risking your business, you're then building assets outside of your business. And that is very, just get into your regular investing, keep it simple, ISAs, pensions, that type of thing. Just build and build outside of the business, because then the business, the robots are coming to take over at the end of the day, so we don't know how things are going to change. And that de-risks that side of things. Get to more sort of our age, not a bit older, maybe 50, and you're starting to think what the plan is. Same things apply, making sure pensions are still the best investment tax efficiently to get money out of your business and to build assets in the background. But at around 50, you should be thinking, what's the end game? You don't want to be running as fast as, or you and I talk about this, don't want to be running as fast, dealing with all the headaches. And for me, that's around, the starter point for us, so if you think about when someone's thinking of selling their business, there's typically a financial planner, there's typically a solicitor, an accountant, and you might bring in a business consultant. You start out by saying, what our job is to tell you how much you need. So if I'm sitting with you today, Neil, it is, how much money do you need to have in the bank to live the rest of your days and live your best life that you want? And that number will depend on how much you need to spend. If you want the fast cars and the yachts, it's going to be a bigger number. Then typically most people want to have enough money to enjoy themselves and provide for their family. Yeah. Once you know that number, the magic number as we call it, then it's over to the business. Mm-hmm. Many people actually know what their business is worth. Not many. They think they know what it's worth. They have a value. And if you've built that thing, you're going to... Yeah. It's like our house, isn't it? Yeah. You just think our houses are worth this. And And you've got to understand what that number is, because what that does for you is allow you to sit back and go, okay, so we had a client who thought he was going to be 65. Thought he was going to be working. And we sat down with him and we were able to say, do you realize you could go at 60? And he was like, what? It took him aback. He left at 60.
Yeah.
And he still keeps in touch and thanks us for that, for doing that. It was because he knew his number. He had his ducks in a row.
Okay.
Then he moved into the business sale. He brought the solicitor in. He got the value. He did a couple of years of getting the house in order, and he sold for a price that allowed him. Like, so many people are chasing the big number.
Yeah.
Is it not better to have I'd rather have a few extra years.
Well, absolutely. And I often hear it said, particularly in this profession, in the legal profession, where people have said, like, I don't have a model for retirement. So you touched on it before. The money's fine, but you have to know what you're going to be doing on a day-to-day basis. If you're not in the Gulf or you're not in going on holiday every other week,
you need a purpose. That's what I think. You need a reason to get yourself, the way saying, enough money to get you out of bed and enough money to sleep well. And it is really important that when you're not doing the same, different if you're going to go on and do another business or...
Yeah. What are the do's and don'ts? If you've just inherited money, be that a large amount or a comfortable amount, is there any things that you just shouldn't do?
It reminds me of lottery winners. High percentage lottery winners in America go bankrupt because they're just not used to the wealth.
Yeah.
Typically business owners are used to the wealth. One of the big changes you have to get used to is there's no cash flow anymore.
Yeah.
Which is, because if you think about it, you get money coming in every month. You can buy what you want in that month and then the money comes in again. But, so that's a big thing that you have to think about. A financial advisor will have that set up to be paid from your assets going forward, but that's different. It's different from earning it. For me, it always needs the planning. If you're working, for us, we would say 2 to 3 years out, get the plan in place, get the systems built, get the house in order, get the tax advice, get the legal advice. Have it, give yourself the best chance. Like, you can't wing this because you're going to get one go at it, aren't you? And sell when you want to, not when you have to. Then when the money hits, hoping one day I'll be able to have this feeling and wake up and hit the online banking and go. But once you know your magic number, so if I'm sitting with a client, I'm sitting husband and wife, we're going, well, how much do you need to live a good year? Typically the holidays will be the biggest if they're into travel, and how do they want to travel and how they want to do it. I've got clients with a 5,000 a year budget, and I've got a client at 50,000 a year budget, and they've got no kids and they just want to enjoy their money.
Yeah.
And it's once you understand what you need for a good year, especially in the early years, if you sell out of 55, 60, hopefully you have 10, 15 years where all of a sudden you've got time you never had. Hopefully you've got the energy and health and you've got the money.
Yeah.
And they're the three things. Once you know that number, anything over and above it is for you to decide what to do. Inheritance tax, as you know, that budget last year was awful as business owners, but you've got to think about that. But the don'ts are just take your time, have your plan, know your number, and then the number, any money over and above that, you want to go and buy the 911 or do whatever you want, then you're free to do it because you know you're in control. When you roll into it with your eyes closed, you just don't give yourself a chance.
And do you find that you have some clients that get too bogged down in that inheritance tax planning? Inheritance tax planning, obviously is so important, and there's none of us that want to pay the higher rate of tax. But do you run the risk of maybe getting too bogged down in inheritance tax that you're so focused on the next generation coming through that you actually don't look after yourself?
Yeah, as we often say that, you put your own life mask on before everybody else, because you do get that on what's coming next. And given property prices, it's not hard to get caught in the inheritance tax trap. So I find that too. I find people are too, it's not so much the tax as such. Well, it is in that they don't want to pay too much. They're trying to control everything and trying to work everything out. Hopefully you have a lot of life to live. And inheritance tax is avoidable through ongoing planning. I always say to people, you can just insure the inheritance tax bill now. That takes a lot of decisions away.
Yeah.
It's a lot of complexity away. If you're good enough health to get it and you've got the money, then that does it.
Yeah.
But I think now the amount that's on the table to be taken by HMRC is made it that people... We've had more meetings this year about inheritance tax than we had in the last 5.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a conversation that's never far from our minds here, estate planning, and we do have Daniel McCracken heads up the probate administration of estates and estate planning side of the team is kept extremely busy by this. Well, unfortunately, at the minute, the conversation is always, what do you think is going to happen under the budget? Or do you know what's going to happen under the budget? The reality of it is none of us know. We're just going to enjoy the next 3 weeks.
But what it's brought into focus for me is the importance of the will and the will being done correctly. Again, in the last year, discussions around the 2 million mark of the residential nil rate band. You know, when no one, you know, you rewriting the will, tenants in common, that type of thing. People never heard of it.
Well, you've got a captive audience here. Obviously, we would echo that. Everyone needs a will.
Daniel and I thought that through. And but everyone needs a will, don't get around to it. But now everyone needs to actually look at their wills and rewrite for
Absolutely.
what they've done. So, but going back to inheritance tax is avoidable with good planning. Doesn't have to be complex, and sit down and just have a plan.
Yeah.
And enjoy life along the way.
We're going to round up on a very positive note. Any good news stories, Paul? And obviously, I don't want you to breach any client confidentiality, but any client that you have that you look at and you go, really good planning, really good opportunity, and they're living their best life, and they're financially sound, and that you contributed towards that.
So, from a business sale point of view, I talked on earlier, you know, for someone to retire 5 years earlier than they thought, especially when you're pushing 60, like, he couldn't be any more graceful. He's on our website on the video talking about it if you want to go and have a look at it. And that was just done. He was with a financial advisor before. They have 3 letters and everyone knows them, one of the biggest in the UK. And there was no cash flow plan. It was just investments.
Yeah.
There wasn't the sat down to go, if you weren't working, how much would you and your wife need?
Yeah.
And once we know that, then we know what they have available to them, then we can work that out for you.
Yeah.
And he knew his number, and he wasn't chasing the big valuation. He knew what was enough. I talk about enough quite a bit. Once you know what's enough, then the decisions, you decide where you want to go. And that's what a proper financial planner will do when you have them in your corner, is tell you that. If you want to go for as much as you can get, that's up to you, but at least you know.
Yeah.
I think from the other side of things, but you want to focus on the positive, so but the other side of things.
Well, okay, would you come back to another positive after this?
Is that, you know, I know of one person who did the deal, and then after the deal, the company that they were to be part of went into financial difficulties.
Yeah.
And what she was sold for her 3-year earnout has very much changed.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back. She did everything right, but it's not. That's what I mean about you only get one chance at this. So due diligence, having the right people in your corner.
Yeah.
It's so important.
And the earnout for us is a massive thing, because you have this headline figure.
Yeah.
But then you've got these earnouts that are contingent upon X, Y, and Z. And that's a large focus of what we're doing on an M&A transaction, where you are sitting down to say, but, you know, this could mean this. It's a difficult one to get right, and it's very important. And I think this is where there's a lot of areas of synergy between the likes of yourself and lawyers, and, as you say, accountants as well. And it is important that we all work on a collaborative manner to ensure that the clients are getting the best advice, not only legally, but financially and from a tax perspective as well moving forward. So
I also think now I work with a business consultant who can go in a couple of years before and help you to get the house in order, because unless you've got the time to do that, would be my struggle now. So I'm day-to-day clients trying to run the business. There's a lot of projects I'd love to do, just never got around to. I think putting an investment into someone like that who would get your house in order, it'd be worth it.
I agree, and lawyers are probably the worst for that. They're too busy being good lawyers, and some in our profession are not great business people. And then you get to 60, 65, maybe even older, and you realize, I need to sell this business, or I need to get out, and the exit strategy is not there. So I echo that in terms of it's always great to bring outside help in, somebody that can actually just look at your business and go, well, you need to do this and you need to get this sale ready.
Yeah, I had a meeting with clients last night. His solicitor practice is going very well. I mean, how you get money out at the end of it? He and I get on really well and have it. I mean, how you get money at the end of it? You can't answer the question.
Yeah.
Because he thinks no one wants to come in and do law anymore, and the challenges that go.
Hopefully not.
But your industry, I do find that too, is for whatever reason not giving that thought. But I think, just to wrap up, the positive note is you're in control. It's your business. Take time, plan it out. Think about what it is that you want for the business. So for me, it has to tick sort of 4 boxes. Are my clients going to be okay with it? They're not going to be disadvantaged. Are my team, or my business partner and I going to, does it tick the box for us? And finally, what about the person coming after you? A lot of us have built these businesses. We care for them. We've built culture and values within them that's important to us. You don't want to be letting that go.
Yeah.
So I think you got to just be getting yourself ready. And money is only one part of it.
Yeah.
What are you doing that Monday after when the phone doesn't ring?
Absolutely.
No emails.
Yeah.
It is. You might think that you'd probably say go and play golf, but after a while.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm hoping that I still have a little bit of time left in the profession, but I would be lying if I didn't say I look at retirement and think, what does retirement look like other than the holidays and the time off? But you still have a lot of time to put in between times. So anyway, hopefully that is us ending on a positive note. Paul, thank you very much for coming in. That's very insightful. It's a topic which is very close to our agenda here in MKB, and it's great to hear from the trusted advisors in the local community.
Thank you, Neil.